Kyle Busch is in the GOAT conversation in NASCAR circles. With 2 Cup Series championships and 63 Cup Series wins under his belt, Rowdy's been in victory lane for as long as anyone can remember. But what about his life off track? There are some little-known facts about the NASCAR champ that even you will find shocking, from his acting gigs, insane car collection, and relationship status, to his jaw-dropping salary. Here are 10 little-known things you probably didn't know about Kyle Busch. And we've got to say, number 2 takes the cake for us. Starting with number 10, racing roots. Busch grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. He got into racing when he was 6 years old by driving a homemade go-kart around his neighborhood. Even though he couldn't control the speed, his dad helped him learn the basics by managing the gas pedal while Busch steered. As he got older, Busch worked with his dad and older brother Kurt in their garage, and by the time he was 10, he was even the crew chief for Kurt's dwarf car team. When Busch turned 13 in 1998, he started his race career. From 1999 to 2001, he won more than 65 races in Legends car racing, including 2 championships at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway Bull Ring. He then moved up to late models and won 10 races at the Bull Ring in 2001. At just 16 years old, he started competing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, driving the number 99 Ford for Roush Racing. He stepped in for Nathan Hazelow midway through the 2001 season. His first race was at Indianapolis Raceway Park, where he finished 9th. In his second race at Chicago Motor Speedway, he was leading until his truck ran out of fuel with 12 laps left. In 2001, Busch was the fastest in practice for the Auto Club 200 at California Speedway in Fontana, but he couldn't race because the event was sponsored by Marlboro cigarettes and Busch was under 18. Tim Woods III took his place and finished 25th. Busch raced in 6 Truck Series events that year, finishing 9th twice. 6 weeks later, NASCAR set a minimum age of 18 for drivers starting in 2002 to prevent similar incidents. This was partly because Winston, a tobacco company, sponsored the premier Winston Cup Series, so Busch moved to the American Speed Association, or ASA, National Tour and finished 8th in points. In 2002, Busch graduated early, with honors, from Durango High School in Las Vegas to focus on racing. That same year, he debuted in the ARCA REMAX Series at Lowe's Motor Speedway, finishing 12th in a Chevrolet for WP Motorsports. Number 9, helmet hoarder. He's really into collecting helmets. Kyle likes to hold on to 1 or 2 of his fire suit designs every year. His helmets are designed with the help of graphic designer Jason Beam, so he always tries to keep them if he can. Sometimes he swaps helmets with other drivers. He has a Stewart helmet and a Marco Andretti helmet, but he hasn't done many swaps with NASCAR drivers yet. He tried to swap with Casey Kane for his Red Bull helmet, even though he knew it was just for 1 year, but Kyle wouldn't give it up. Once he gets the driver helmets, he keeps them in his office at his shop. They just sit there like little collectible pieces. It's pretty cool to have them. Sometimes they write little messages to each other on the helmets. Number 8, favorite racing movie. According to Kyle, the best racing-related movie is Days of Thunder. He thinks you can't go wrong with it. However, he also enjoys Six Pack. In terms of storyline, he believes Six Pack is the best. It's about a young kid who wants to be part of the racing team but is too young to be allowed in the pit area. This resonates with Kyle because he had similar experiences growing up. Days of Thunder also has a cool storyline with plenty of action, crashes, and intense moments. Kyle particularly likes the hospital scene where Joey Logano and Denny race each other on wheelchairs. Overall, both movies are enjoyable for racing fans. Number 7, favorite celebrity and rapper. Kyle's all-time favorite rapper is Eminem. He's been listening to him for years and enjoys hearing his unique perspective. Okay, even though Eminem's lyrics can be graphic at times, Kyle appreciates his talent. Of course, he also respects Tupac's skills, but Eminem holds a special place in Kyle's heart. As for celebrities, if Kyle had to choose, he'd pick Tom Hanks as his favorite. Whether it's in a dramatic role or a comedic one, he thinks Tom Hanks always delivers a memorable performance. Number 6, massive fan following, Rowdy Nation. Kyle Busch is undeniably one of the most talked about NASCAR drivers in history. With an impressive 60 wins in the NASCAR Cup Series and 2 championships under his belt, he's been a dominant force on the track. However, Busch is also known for his controversial antics, earning him the title of the sport's best villain. Despite having plenty of critics, Busch has a massive fan base known as Rowdy Nation, who passionately support him. The man's quite literally nicknamed as Rowdy, or Wild Thing, because of his unique driving style. But luckily for him, Kyle doesn't really care if fans love him or not. He's cool with being seen as the bad guy. And that works out well for him because he can be quite the polarizing figure sometimes. But he claims to wear that black hat with pride. You know, in NASCAR these days, drivers are usually all friendly and bland, but Busch, he's different. He's not afraid to be himself, even if that means some people don't like him. Chase Elliott summed it up well. People love to hate him, and he's totally okay with that. It's just one of the things that makes Kyle Busch stand out in the world of NASCAR. Number 5, car collection. Kyle Busch has quite the lineup in his garage. He owns a Toyota Camry, a Ford Edge, and a Chevy Corvette Z06, which is a pretty modest collection for a big-name racer and celebrity endorser. However, he also has a limited edition Lexus LFA, one of the most luxurious Japanese cars ever crafted. The Lexus LFA is a true gem, featuring a Yamaha-tuned, naturally aspirated 1LR GUE 4.8-liter V10 engine that churns out 552 horsepower at 8,700 RPM and 354 pound-feet of torque at 6,800 RPM. While it might not outpace beasts like the Bugatti Veyron or Ford GT, car enthusiasts agree that the LFA boasts one of the most incredible sounds on the road, setting it apart in the world of supercars. But luxury, it comes at a price. When it first hit the market in 2010, the Lexus LFA had a hefty starting price of nearly $380,000. And the LFA Nürburgring Edition commanded even more, fetching around $445,000. Today, getting your hands on one will set you back a cool fortune, double in fact. In 2021, a Lexus LFA was sold for a jaw-dropping $2.3 million, putting Busch in a league of his own among car enthusiasts. Number 4, charity. Our boy Kyle is pretty well known for his philanthropic efforts. The Kyle Busch Foundation came about after a meaningful experience he had back in August 2006. He was invited to visit St. John's, a home for kids aged 6 through 18 who had been through tough times. After hanging out with the kids there, Kyle realized how much we take basic things like food and shelter for granted. So he decided to start the Kyle Busch Foundation to help out places like St. John's and the kids they look after. Then in May 2012, Kyle made a young boy's dream come true through Make-A-Wish. This kid named Kyle Felver got a letter from his hero inviting him to North Carolina. Kyle showed him around his racing team's place and let him be part of the action at NASCAR events. It was a day to remember for sure. And in 2011, Kyle honored Zara Baker, a 10-year-old girl who was tragically murdered, by putting her name and picture on his racing truck. Zara had been part of a special event for underprivileged kids at the Speedway, and Kyle wanted to keep her memory alive. It was a touching tribute that showed just how much this race car driver cares about making a difference. Number 3, movie star? Now, we gotta tell you, Kyle's a man of many talents. Apart from being a NASCAR GOAT, he's made cameo appearances in various TV shows like WWE Raw, Jeopardy, The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. He's also been featured on NASCAR-related programs like NASCAR on ESPN and NBC NASCAR. But the best acting gig he's landed so far has gotta be his role in the movie Logan Lucky, where he got to strut around as a highway patrol officer. Man, it's a good watch. Number 2, salary and net worth. As one of the top drivers at NASCAR, Kyle likes to keep his salary and sponsorship details private. But don't worry, we gotcha. Our reports tell us that he earns a hefty salary of around $16.9 million, making him one of the highest paid drivers on the NASCAR circuit. On top of that, Busch rakes in approximately $1.7 million from endorsements, thanks to a successful racing career and favorable sponsorships. In 2018 alone, his salary peaked at $18 million when he was with Joe Gibbs Racing. Over his 19-year career in NASCAR, Busch has accumulated an estimated net worth of $80 million, thanks to his consistent performance on the track and his 2 Cup Series titles. Partnering with big sponsors like BetMGM and Lenovo has also contributed to his financial success. As for his contract, Busch recently extended his stay with Richard Childress Racing, joining them in the 2023 season after leaving Joe Gibbs Racing, where he spent 15 years and won his 2 titles. Despite a setback in 2022 due to engine failure, Busch remains a formidable force in NASCAR with his eyes set on more victories. And number 1, partners. Our 2-time Cup Series champ is married to the woman of his dreams. His wife, Samantha Busch, is an extremely talented woman, and the two of them make a dynamic duo that always leaves fans in awe. They tied the knot in 2010 after meeting at a NASCAR event in Indianapolis back in 2007. Samantha was actually checking fan credentials for ride-alongs when she got paired up with Kyle himself. Since then, they've been inseparable, with Samantha even becoming a co-owner of Kyle Busch Motorsports alongside her racing star hubby. But racing isn't the only thing on Samantha's plate. She's a Purdue graduate and a woman of many talents. Besides being a mother and an author, she's also an entrepreneur, a lifestyle blogger, a philanthropist, and an advocate for IVF. With Kyle on the road for nearly 38 weeks a year, Samantha decided to channel her passions into a lifestyle blog where she shares everything from fashion and fitness tips to parenting advice. She's faced some pretty tough times, including the heartbreaking loss of 2 babies to miscarriage, but she continues to push forward with strength and resilience. There was a time when the couple thought their marriage was as good as over, but fortunately, they made it through all the highs and lows. They now have 2 babies, an 8-year-old son and a daughter who's around the age of 2. So, what are your thoughts on Kyle Busch? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch the next one that'll pop up on your screen and hit that subscribe button for all things NASCAR.